Test.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Starbucks. I am your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me on this glorious Wednesday morning, once again, Jim Rosati. Jim, spring training has started. The interesting battles have begun.
The interesting battles, quote unquote, interesting battles. Yeah, no, we've had, 3 games now? So one was finally on TV yesterday. It was a stunning 5-inning performance. No, yeah, it's good to have baseball back on, even though it's not even really baseball.
I'll take any type of baseball. Just to have players on the field right now, throwing a ball, hitting a ball, I'm good with it. But hey, you, my friend, all right, we're here at the mercy of trying to watch a baseball game, likely having to listen to it on a radio station. But you're just a few days away from being down there in Bradenton, aren't you?
Yeah, I will be down there next week. Unfortunately, the Pirates are not home very much next week, so I'll only be able to catch a couple games. But no, it'll be nice to be down there.
That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm technically, I don't know that far away. I'm not gonna say I'm down here, I guess, but I do live 4 hours away. I don't think I'm going to be. So
you're not going to be. You're not going at all this year.
I don't know if I am or not.
You should make it down for at least like a weekend.
I know. We'll find out. We'll see. Yeah. But at any rate, as mentioned, baseball's back. Maybe before we get into Major League Baseball, let's dabble into some news that came out last night that, again, I know you're so passionate about. So minor league baseball is, I mean, we've already cut down the teams. We talked to Tim Williams on Thursday. You know, he shared a little light on his view on the minor leagues. We all know you have your view, but now it seems as if they're being pushed back by 4 weeks, the minor league seasons. Come on. What's going on here?
Yeah. Well, basically, I guess I didn't really read into it a lot, but AA, High A, and Low A were scheduled to start in May anyways, I guess. Mm-hmm. But AAA was going to start first week of April, and now AAA has been pushed back to the first week of May. And I mean, I guess they're still going to do like the alternate site training, right? So like instead of having AAA the first month, they'll have that alternate site thing.
Right.
Like they did last year. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like that. So that way they'll still be like a group of players that are going to be available for teams to, pluck from if they needed. But yeah, it just sucks because we talked all last week about, the exciting part of this year is really going to be the minor league season. And now we've got to wait even longer for that minor league season to begin. And I guess it really just stems from minor leaguers aren't in spring training yet. I mean, unless you're in big league camp. So like minor league camp isn't actually going to start until after the major leaguers leave. I guess in an effort to reduce the amount of people at spring training facilities, they're not like mingling. So I guess that's why we're starting late. I guess it sucks, but I guess if that's the reason, I understand it. But still a little bit of a bummer, Donardo.
It is. I want to be rational, like you said, like understanding the situation, everything that is happening in this world right now, not even just the country. Yeah, I mean, if that's like the minor inconvenience we have to have right now that it's pushed back a month, so be it. I get it. But it's like you said, it's just the frustrating part about it. This was the one thing we had going for us. You know, you mentioned this, being part of the Pirates, watching the Pirates and such. It's the minor leagues. It's the future. You know, literally the Pirates created an account called Young Bucks because, you know, they're trying to market these young guys because that is the future. I mean, that just kind of shows you, understand, you know, what we're doing right now as Pirate fans and whatnot. So, you know, you're looking for the future, and now it's like you said, we've missed out on a whole season last year, and now it's going to be a whole nother month this year. Just give us some minor league baseball. I'm craving it. I'm dying for it right now. And like I mentioned, you know, here in Jacksonville, Florida, I do now have a AAA team. The Marlins, the Jacks.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The Jacks Jumbo Shrimp have gone from AA to AAA this year, Jim. I'm so excited for that as well. And now it's another month away. So here we are.
Is shrimp a big
it's not
a big crop? I guess is it considered a crop?
That's a great question.
Like, I mean, because you harvest it, right? Like you would you harvest fish. So
we need Bubba.
Yeah. Like what do you consider, like, what is that? What is fish? Like, what is fish and shrimp? So Jacksonville, not a big shrimping area.
It's I guess just because we're near water. It's Jack's Jumbo Shrimp. I don't know. It's kind of catchy and clever, but I wouldn't say it's like, Jacksonville, like we're known for shrimp, and that's, it's a big business here. I'm sure it probably is.
Probably.
I'm sure it's a good business, but
when did they change from the because they were the Sun, right?
Yeah, the Suns. It was like 3 years ago, maybe 4.
I feel like they were the Suns for like a long time.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a long time. When I first moved here, it was the Dodgers affiliate. I'll never. So to kind of get off topic here, and we're 3 games into spring training. There's not much topic, anyways.
Right.
But when I first
we'll talk about the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp organization
and the LA Dodgers. When I first moved down here, I said there's like the weirdest regrets I have. I moved here a year too late. I moved here a year after the Super Bowl was in Jacksonville. I moved here a week before the All-Star game was played in Pittsburgh. And then when I moved down here, it was the Dodgers AA team, which had, at that time, Clayton Kershaw, Matt Kemp, James Loney. Didn't see them at all. And then it was next year they came and became the Marlins. So missed out on Clayton Kershaw, like all those dudes. I mean, that crop of talent the Dodgers had. And then I was left with the Marlins. So, but anyways, yeah, there's your Jumbo Shrimp news for the day. A-Rod played for the Suns back in the day.
He would have, yeah.
A little bit of information there.
Yeah.
So back to the Pirates. I guess, how do you want to kick this off? It's been a few games here. I want to kind of put you on blast here. And Mitch Nagy did as well. And I enjoyed it. And it's a little bit of in jest, but doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So there was 2 players in the second game. Anthony Alford.
Yes.
Right? And Thrill Up Evans, right?
Thrill Up Evans. Yes.
They were both in the lineup. And you said that's not interesting. You said it's not interesting. You don't care that they're in the lineup.
Literally not in the least bit interesting.
And then, of course, Alford goes in, hits a home run. Evans has an RBI single. Yep. I'm not going to say you got dunked on, but you got dunked on a little bit there. But yeah, so I want your kind of take on this, right? I mean, what is your level of interesting when it comes to spring training?
I think there are levels of interest. Like, there are interesting things that can happen in spring training, but Phillip Evans and Anthony Alford are not 2 of those things, in my opinion. Again, out of everybody like out there, I am just not high on Alford at all. Like, at all. I hope I'm wrong. Like, Don't get me wrong. I hope I'm wrong about it, but I just don't think he's good. Phillip Evans is another. I mean, like they're both guys. They're guys who Evans had a good, 2 weeks with the Pirates last year, right? Anthony Alford has really never had a good 2 weeks anywhere for the last like 4 or 5 years. So I don't know. There's absolutely nothing about those guys that gets me excited or I find interesting. What I would find interesting in a spring training game is, seeing these people who we don't see very much, like O'Neal,
like
Cruz,
Anthony Alford
and
Phillip Evans,
Nick Gonzalez, and even like to a case like Travis Swaggerty, and like Quinn Priester is going to probably pitch here in the next day or two. Like that's going to be interesting.
Yes.
Anthony Alford and Phillip Evans are not interesting. I'm sorry.
But I guess so. My take here, my side on this is when you're a team like the Pirates and a true rebuild, I guess Evans maybe a little less. I mean, Evans is 28. I wouldn't foresee him more like in the future per se, but like an Anthony Alford. I get, like you said, that he hasn't had a good 2 weeks in like 4 or 5 years. Like, I understand that, right? There was clearly a reason that I believe. I mean, there's a link there. I mean, Cherington, he was in the organization with the Blue Jays. Blue Jays let him go. Cherington picks him up. He was, a bit of a touted prospect. There's tools there. I feel Mitch just commented because I'll pretend I didn't hear that. He has entered the stream, Jim. I feel like as the Pirates and as maybe a Pirate fan, like that is something you want to look for. Maybe there is some magic and that's why there draws some interest. It might be a low percentage that happens. And I agree with you. It's a very low percentage that Anthony Alford probably hits, right? But I care less about Todd Frazier right now as a 35-year-old man who's on a minor league deal, probably going to make the club, but whatever. I care much less about that. I found him less interesting, even though he's jacked up 2 home runs, than I do Anthony Alford, because that's where the lottery ticket exists. That's where there's a chance. When I buy Powerball, I'm going to lose, but I'm stuck to the TV at 11 o'clock at night or whenever it goes off. That tells you how much I actually buy Powerball because it's interesting. I have this chance that I'm going to win. And with Alford, like there's this chance that we get hit on something. And that's why I do find maybe that battle a bit interesting. The good win there, Alford, and now, who did the Pirates just, Dustin Fowler.
Yeah.
Right. So like with that outfield there, Goodwin maybe a little less interesting, although we've talked about he's probably the better one. But like I'm interested to see what Alford can do and now like what Fowler can do. Because those are your potential lottery tickets. Is that fair?
If we have like a scale of interesting and we're going like 1 to 100, right? 1 being least interesting, 100 being interesting, right? And like you mentioned Todd Frazier, right? Todd Frazier is basically like a 1 or a 2 on that interesting scale.
Okay.
I guess Anthony Alford is higher than 1 or 2, but he's not higher than like 10 or 15.
So single digits.
Out of 100. Yeah, I'd put him in like that 10 out of 100 range in terms of how interesting he is, in my opinion.
And is it just because you're just so low on him that you feel there's absolutely zero chance that he's likely to do much?
Well, no, that's what I gave him a 10, DiNardo.
You gave him a 10 out of 100.
There's
on Jim's level of fine, he got a 10 out of 100.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Like I said, there's a chance. So I give him a 10. I will watch him and I will hope he does well. It's just like, I don't really care though.
Okay.
Unless, like I said, unless he proves me wrong, like unless he comes out and he's like this otherworldly guy, but I'm not going to put any stock in Anthony Alford's spring training. how many times did Jose Osuna have like a great spring training? Right?
I mean, we can go down this
I mean,
list. Jeez.
I feel like every
I feel
year
like we
Jose
talked about
Osuna.
Tabata, right?
Yeah, I feel like
Although
Osuna
Tabata
every
was
year
decent.
put together this monster spring. I remember one year, like Osuna hit like 8 home runs in spring training, and the Pirates sent him down to AAA to start the year, and people were going nuts.
There was a whole Ozuna over Josh Bell like movement that was taking place. I think that was the year. I'm sure
and
it was.
It's like you guys, come on, it's Jose Osuna.
There was comparisons of Ozuna to Pujols at the time. There was, why are we playing Josh Bell and not have Ozuna up here? I get it. I understand that.
Yeah. So I am putting 0 stock in Alfred Spring. I guess the only thing that's somewhat interesting is hoping that he's like healthy enough that he can literally play in the outfield, because he still hasn't been able to do that yet. That's probably the most interesting thing, honestly.
Okay.
Because if he can't play in the outfield, then he's not even going to have a spot on the roster.
That's fair. And you know what? I feel bad too. Interesting enough, Jim, I left off Tony Stokes Jr. He's also in that list of interesting players in that position, if you may, which I believe he stole a base.
Yeah.
So there you go. All the interesting players are doing well right now.
So interesting.
No, I gotta say, like, I understand where you're coming from. There's a very, very, very low chance that he really does anything. And I guess what you're interested in is, again, like the future. Like, you would want to see the Nick Gonzalez's, of course, Brian Hayes right now, Swagger coming in. Like, that's what you're interested in, because Alfred's probably not going to be the next wave. Alfred's probably not going to be much of an MLB player. Probably not. Very unlikely. But those guys can. And again, that's why we're craving minor league baseball, because we want to see these guys play. So I guess I understand that aspect. But I'm not going to hate on some of the people that do find Alfred interesting. Which, again,
I'm not going to hate on anybody. I'm not going to hate on anybody. Like, if you think he's interesting, then you think he's interesting. I just don't. Like, there's just nothing that interests me about him.
You know who I do find interesting, though?
Who do you find interesting?
Chad Kuhl.
Of course you do.
Chad Kuhl, baby. You know I do. So I have to have, this is my whole thing this year. Every chance I get with Chad Kuhl right now for you, I'm bringing it up. So Chad Kuhl he's handed opening day starter for spring training, Jim. The opening day starter for spring training.
What an honor.
So he takes that job. He throws 1 inning with 3 strikeouts. Strikes out the side. 3 strikeouts, Jim.
Ace. Did he strike out the side?
He did. Shut up. We're not going to talk about that. So he strikes out the side. Now he gave up 2 hits. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit here, because I guess of the guys that pitch, there's Mitch Keller and Chad Kuhl, are probably the 2 interesting guys, if you may, that have pitched so far to start off the game. But yeah, Chad Kuhl didn't look too good at first. It was not going the way I was hoping to. Gave up 2 hits, but then he settled down, threw 3 strikeouts. His stuff was looking pretty good from what they've said, because also we couldn't watch. But yeah, so Chad Kuhl starts off, and then Mitch Keller, to talk about it. Mitch Keller did not look as good. But there's that. So again, Chad Kuhl, did that 1 inning change anything for you so far on your perception of Chad Kuhl? Of spring training?
Chad Kuhl's 1 spring training inning had no change of my mind.
Come on, Jim.
No, it did not. Against a juggernaut Baltimore Orioles spring training squad too.
Whatever.
No, I mean, no. It's here's the thing with Kuhl. Like, it's nice to see that he looks good. It's nice to see that he was able, to pick up some strikeouts and get out of the jam, it seems. So, Chad Kuhl, out of the 3 people we've talked about so far, right? Chad Kuhl, Phillip Evans, and Anthony Alford. Chad Kuhl is the most interesting.
Wow.
All right.
About a 21, you would say, on the scale?
Oh no, I would actually put Kuhl more at like a 45-50 on the scale.
Okay.
Like, I mean, he's in the start. He's one of our starting pitchers. He's in our rotation. He's someone who could potentially, either be on our team for the next 3 years or so, or be trade bait. So no, Chad Poole actually has a purpose on this team.
Has a purpose. I love that.
He has a purpose. But no, I mean, so it was nice to see him come out there, strike out the side. Lots of strikeouts in that first game by the Pirates. But I mean, I feel like too at this point, it's going to be interesting because I think it was Wayner who was talking about it on the broadcast yesterday. Is you have a lot of these guys, especially here in spring training, where you have all these players who didn't actually play in any organized games, right? They haven't faced live pitching in forever. Like, how long is it going to take some of these guys to like actually get into a rhythm, right?
Yeah.
If you look at even just on the Pirates roster, right? Who were kind of competing for spots, like Jared Oliva, O'Neal Cruz to an extent, Swaggerty. They're there, but they really didn't have any playing time last year. How long is it going to take those guys to kind of get into a routine where they're able to face live pitching every day?
That's very true. And you said to an extent, but I feel, and that's why I think I brought the question to Tim as well. Like, I feel, Cruz is probably the most affected by all this because he is the guy that needs the reps. And like you mentioned, missing all of last year. And now we're going to miss, a month of minor leagues again. So, it's like a year and a month that he's missed live baseball. He's going into this year. And that's a guy we want to see again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know it's not so much for like the major league, like you mentioned, but yeah, like for him missing live at bats, that's a big difference. And it's like, if he starts out slow, like, is this a bust, or is it, loss of weighing on him, or is it just a loss of, live at bats? Such that, there's gonna be a lot of questions. This season's gonna be very, very weird in that sense. That's what, this whole thing is really put a damper into baseball. But I guess so. If we're going on players and early season stuff, right? We've talked about interesting players. Let's go to another one that's been very interesting for about, I feel, a decade now. How about Gregory Polanco? All right, Gregory Polanco has his first game. I think his first at bat he lined out. Is that true? I can't remember. But his second at bat, home run.
Yeah.
Oh no, his first at bat was that RBI error. That's right. So his second at bat, home run.
It was Oppo too, wasn't it?
It was Oppo. So he's back, right? No wind aided spring training help. No terrible Baltimore Orioles pitching. Like, Gregory Polanco is back. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, of course. No. Obviously, again, it's nice to see, right? I still feel like Polanco can serve a purpose on this team, right? Like, he's going to be the starting right fielder. He's going to get at bats. Out of everyone out there, he could be the most talented, right? I mean, you could argue that Gregory Polanco is the most talented person on the Pirates 40-man roster, right? He just really hasn't been able to put that talent and develop it into on-field results consistently. Not just staying healthy, right?
True.
But being able to play consistently well when you are healthy. But no, I mean, how long has Polanco actually been on this team?
That's exactly what this is,
2014. So, I mean, this is
it's crazy to think. Let me
year.
Not to cut you off here, but like, just saying that,
yeah.
Like, does that just not baffle your mind? Is
this what? Yeah,
like you said, 2014. I mean, we're going like basically 7 years of Polanco hype, and like 7 years of it's time he's gonna break out. But like you're saying, he is very skilled. I mean, it could happen. There's reasons why there's this hype train, I feel, every single year, and there's some validation to it as well. I just wanted to point that out because it's.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's right. I mean, if you look at, say, like prospect rankings and things like that, like, there was a reason why Gregory Polanco was I think he got up to like number 8 at one point, like number 8 overall prospect.
Sounds
But
about
I mean, there's a reason he got to that point. Super talented individual. Again, just has to put it together. Is he somebody who could be a late bloomer? Right. So that's kind of what makes him interesting. I mean, it would be a very late bloomer at this point, but I mean, that happens. But no, I think Polanco, like, this is a big year for him, because if he can actually produce this year, he could actually give the Pirates some value, for being a trade chip, right? I think we can all agree this is going to be Gregory Polanco's last year as a Pirate.
I think you can
is it? Yeah, but is this going to be his last year as a Pirate, and then they just don't pick up his options, or is he going to show something this year and they're going to be able to trade him? So that's really, I guess, what is interesting about Polanco this year. This is his last year. What is he going to bring the Pirates? Is he going to bring the Pirates nothing, or is he going to bring the Pirates something?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, just to put out there, if just a preset, right, the expectations here, because you're absolutely correct. I mean, I feel too, this is Polanco's last year, either via trade or you couldn't trade him because he didn't bring, enough production to the table, and then you're just simply not picking up his options and parting ways with him. So with that said, also, like, what is the value of a corner outfielder? We're hoping Polanco comes back and adds actual value. Think a few years back when Nick Castellanos got traded, when what's his face, who's now JD Martinez, got traded. Like, they brought back very little value, because what's really the going rate for a corner outfielder? Not too high. Mm-hmm. So also, with the people that are wondering, and I don't want to temper them expectations out too, because if Polanco does produce, it's probably not going to be at the value of JD Martinez and Nick Castellanos those years. And those guys brought back barely top 20 prospects. So just to put it out there, just to say. But yes, I'm with you. Like, I'm interested in Gregory Polanco. I feel like with more of Chad Cole than him, but like, I feel with them too. Like, you still see stuff there,
Exactly.
Polanco has all the talents. There's been injuries. There's been that swing of his. I'm hearing, again, because we can't watch, I'm hearing that the swing has shortened up a bit again. Potentially looking a lot better right now in the batter's box than some years before. So again, like, there is potential there. There is hope with Polanco. And I'm with you. Like, I want to give him every opportunity to, because he presents that chance and that opportunity to bring something back for the Pirates. Or Anthony Alford, probably not so much. Phillip Evans, probably not so much. So I'm with you on that. And yes, as Mitch mentioned, it is spring training overreaction season.
Really the only thing to talk about right now. Yeah.
So I guess if you want to go down the list here of things to talk about, Todd Frazier. So we said he's about a 1 or 2 on the interesting scale. But Todd Frazier has had 4 at-bats, 2 hits, 2 home runs. Now, he's old, 35 years old. It's not for the future. Potentially a trade chip. But I guess one thing I'll say, if you're talking about interesting level here, with the signing, I mean, Josh Bell gets traded. We get that return. Colin Moran basically officially moves to first base, because we know Brian Hayes owns third now. So I feel like this Frazier-Moran thing could be a nice little platoon here. But I don't know. Todd Frazier, I mean, if Moran can continue what last year was, which last year was a pretty big season for him. He was pretty productive.
Yeah.
Brian Hayes already on third base, right? We know what he can present. His spring's looking pretty good too, hitting the ball, making some solid contact. And now Todd Frazier comes in the mix. If Todd Frazier can, I'm not going to say bounce back, all right? Because it's actually been a while since he's been like really, really good too. But if he can show the power there, spell Moran has a pretty solid season. Maybe he continues from last year or whatever. Those corners, are they looking that bad? I mean, for the Pirates especially.
Well, I mean, no, not at all. I mean, because I think at third base you're going to have a good player. And I guess I'm gonna ask a question to answer the question. But who has a higher WAR this year? The platoon of Colin Moran and Todd Frazier, or Josh Bell?
So that's kind of where I was going to lead here too.
You know,
because
I have a feeling that the Pirates' first base production, depending on Bell and what he does, but again, he just was not there last year at all, and really wasn't there the last half of 2019 either. Yeah, I mean, if you kind of Colin Moran and Todd Frazier give you 2.5 WAR, right? That's probably better than what Josh Bell could give you.
That's a very, very good point. And like I mentioned, it's kind of what I'm getting at here. I mean, Josh Bell was traded. Great guy, right? Shown he also a very talented player as well. Maybe not so much defensively, such as Gregory Polanco, who just dropped the ball in the outfield as well after hitting the home run in the first game.
Correct.
Yeah. So I feel like this could be a sneaky, not that the Pirates are going for anything, of course, but like a sneaky bet here. Josh Bell over in the Nationals playing first base. I might honestly take my bets on Colin Moran and Todd Frazier. And this isn't just because it's been, okay, I sang 2 home runs of Todd Frazier. But, if when you go down, like I said, it's been a while since it's been like really good. Like 2015, his last full season with Cincinnati had a 4.3 WAR. After that, I mean, it hasn't been bad. Take last year out because it was 2020. Throw those stats under this, into the sun, as we mentioned. When you go to 2019, his last like real season with the Mets, he had a 1.8 WAR with them. So it wasn't like he was a bad player, right? A 106 weighted run created plus. Even last year in the lost season, the 89 rated run created plus. It wasn't like he was just terrible. So he's going to split with Moran, potentially, as you would mention. And Moran, last year we saw he was kind of a different player. I mean, the exit velocity really spiked. I want to say off the top of my head, I think it was like 4 miles per hour. It increased by. He just looked different and right. I mean, he had a 113 weighted runs created plus, 10 home runs and 200 at bats, 52 games. It was a bit of a different player. Now, I'm not saying that's going to sustain. He's going to be, he's fixed. He's a great player, but there's like a glimmer of hope in that, in the sense that, Colin Moran actually could be a solid player defensively, which is kind of sad. I think we know he's better than Josh Bell, but he also apparently, it sucks. I got to say apparently and stuff because it's all like hearsay. It's like basically what Alex Stumpf is telling us on Twitter, right? Alex Stumpf said he saw a really good glove play by Colin Moran the other day. And also Colin Moran turned a double play at second base and the ball didn't go into the outfield?
I don't know. I didn't see that.
See, that's what I'm saying. I believe that happened. But at any rate, you're right. I almost feel as if it's a safer bet to say Colin Moran and Todd Frazier have a higher WAR than Josh Bell. I'll even put it this way. The Pirates' first base has a higher WAR than the Nationals' first base.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a possibility. I mean, you look at Bell, even if he were to produce and have a good offensive season, the defense is just so bad that it brings his value down so much. I mean, you look at 2019 where, people were comparing his 2019 season to like Willie Stargell, right? He still didn't even put up 2.5 WAR. He had a 2.4 WAR just because his defense just dragged him down so much. And the defense isn't getting better. Like, it hasn't gotten better. I haven't seen any, videos of him throwing, but if he's still like underhanding the ball to second base, then
I hope not. But
that's gonna still just be continued to be terrible. And as I said, we're not like bashing Josh Bell here, but I think it's like reasonable to think that a Moran Frazier platoon and match the value of Josh Bell. Like, I think that's a reasonable thing to expect.
Right. And you gain prospects and one very valuable prospect.
Yeah. And you were able to turn Josh Bell into some pieces that may be able to contribute down the road.
Right. And yeah, so Mitch pointed out, Mitch is holding up the stream today. It was Todd Frazier yesterday that turned the double play. That's what it was. But so yeah, like,
okay.
So it could. I know it's a platoon and they're not the sexiest players, but Colin Moran and Todd Frazier. It's been a while since the Pirates have seen not even good, passable defense at first. Because even before Josh Bell, it was Pedro. So it's been a while. So I feel, I mean, again, we got Brian Hayes at third. He's going to be a wizard over there. First base could be pretty solid. And I think these corners could potentially hold up. Again, for rebuilding Pirates, I get it. But Todd Frazier, not the most terrible player in the world. And he's shown the power. I mean, it's still there to an extent. I mean, still 2 home runs in 2 games that he played, right? I'm willing.
I don't expect Todd Frazier to go out there and hit like 25 home runs this year. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason to expect that Todd Frazier can't hit the occasional long ball.
Right. I guess, do we really want to go into this? Are we going to have Eric Gonzalez or Fernando Tatis Jr. segments all over again?
Probably not. He does seem to be getting. I think what happened. First game it was Newman at short, Gonzalez at second, and then yesterday they switched. Gonzalez was at short and Newman was at second. So, I guess that's going to be. I guess if we're going back to the interesting scale, right? You know, who's going to be the guy who can, like, or is there going to be a guy who plays shortstop, right? Or are they going to do this thing where everybody just plays 2 out of 3 days, right?
Yeah.
You know, between Tucker and Newman and Gonzalez, and then Frazier to an extent, right? Frazier will get the bulk of the playing time at second, obviously, until he gets traded, maybe. But yeah, I mean, is someone going to take the reins on the shortstop position? I guess that would be a somewhat interesting battle there.
And I guess that's what I was going to go here too. So Adam Frazier still not traded. Not sure if there's anything in the works. What's going on? He also hasn't played right now because hasn't been feeling as healthy. So let's just assume Adam Frazier's on the team going into the 2021 season. Mentioning with Eric Gonzalez here. Eric Gonzalez in that trade from Cleveland comes over, has a great glove. He's played kind of all over the place as well. Cole Tucker, we've tried to push into the outfield last year. Eric Gonzalez has done it. He did it with Cleveland and such. So I guess what I want to come with is, if Adam Frazier is on this club, which at this point in time he is, you already got Newman penciled in. I'm sure he's going to be at shortstop as well. Can Eric Gonzalez and Cole Tucker make this team? And if not, what do you think happens? Because Cole Tucker has a big play in this as well. I mean, not only is he dating Vanessa Hudgens, which some big shoes that you got to fill up here. You got to show some stuff. You can't just be a minor leaguer if you're dating Vanessa Hudgens, I'm sure. But like, is it a chance that Eric Gonzalez is on this club and it pushes Cole Tucker down? Well, I guess now to the site before, actual minor league baseball. Like, is there a real chance that Cole Tucker starts in the minors essentially, and Eric Gonzalez is up here playing?
I think there's absolutely a chance that happens, especially when you throw someone like Phillip Evans into the mix too, right? So, you've got these people who are going to be competing for spots on the roster, and I don't know, it's going to depend on what route they want to go. Like, I mean, is it better for Cole Tucker's development, right, to maybe play every day at AAA as opposed to, bouncing around between short and second, every other day here? I don't know. I don't and again, it's going to be interesting I don't know what the Pirates' new regime thinks of Cole Tucker, right? I mean, we saw last year he didn't play a single game in the infield. So,
but then this year they flip it and they more or less say that he's going to see the middle infield.
So I mean, I'm curious to see what they do there, because we still haven't seen Cole Tucker be able to produce at the major league level, right? And
Right.
and he has been given the opportunity. You could, when you're talking about Alford, I can understand the argument where you're telling me, yeah, he was never given the opportunity, for like everyday playing time, and that's why he's interesting. I'll give you that benefit. I'll give you that argument there. But like for Cole Tucker, he's been given the opportunity to play, and he hasn't produced with it.
Yeah.
So
And
do you
not
just kind of
honestly
keep
too,
throwing
like
him out there?
not to be totally harsh on him, because a lot of stuff was projected right with him as well.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
he really hasn't shown it in the minors either. Like that's the one thing with Cole Tucker as well. Take away the glove. The glove we know is legit. But like with the bat, he really hasn't proved it in the minors either. So to me, like this is why this whole season and this whole situation here I find interesting, because he probably would be best served to be in AAA, getting as much at bats as he can. Because up here, like you said, if you're going to be behind Newman, if you're going to be behind Adam Frazier, then what at bats are you really getting at the major league level? But there is no season yet. Still, like it's still a month away.
Mm-hmm.
So what is he really going to gain at the alternate site then, per se? So again, like I feel so much is tied up with Adam Frazier. Is it best served that the Pirates just eat and take almost like what they can get for Adam Frazier, because it would be best used to have him off the team to maybe help develop Cole Tucker? Maybe Newman slides to second base now, where I think he's probably best suited. Cole Tucker is your shortstop. Or do you just hang on to Adam Frazier because you're not getting the return and you just let it play out because you kind of just feel like, well, you know what, Cole Tucker is really not going to be the guy anyway, so what does that matter?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you just trade Adam Frazier just because. I think you still, however you value Adam Frazier, like that's what you should get in return for him. I don't think you just dump him so that Cole Tucker has a spot on the roster like that. I don't think that's a shrewd move at all. Options and minor league teams and alternate sites exist for a reason. There are only 26 spots on a roster. There are going to be guys who aren't going to make those spots. And yeah, I mean, if you look at because if you look at the roster construction right now, right, you're going to have Gonzalez, Newman, Frazier, as kind of middle infielders. Gonzalez can kind of hop around and play third base as well. And then you also have, Moran and Frazier can both play third base too. So you've got a lot of people who can play third, shortstop, second. These throw Phillip Evans into that mix, who, just based off of the little time that we've seen Phillip Evans and Cole Tucker, Phillip Evans deserves a spot on the Pirates more than Cole Tucker at this point, I would say, at least at this point in time. And yeah, I mean, once you include,
I get what you're saying. Like he deserves it, but in the same sense, you want to give every possibility to Cole Tucker, because when you're looking at the Pirates in 2024, is it Cole Tucker or Phillip Evans? It's Cole Tucker.
It's probably neither, but
well, I mean, I get yeah. It probably is neither, but Cole Tucker has the chance. Like, you want to give Cole Tucker every opportunity because he can be in this next wave where Evans really isn't going to be.
No, you're right. I get that too. But again, he just hasn't been able to show it, and he's someone who maybe could benefit. Tucker kind of came into a weird situation where he was probably called up, when he wasn't ready either, right? Mm-hmm. Cole Tucker was called up in 2018 2019, mm-hmm. Early on in the year, when, before we would have expected him to, because of injuries, right? But Eric Gonzalez and Starling Marte ran into each other and they both got hurt. That was what triggered it, right? Yep. So Reynolds and Tucker came up. And so Tucker, again, struggled, was sent back down he kind of bounced up and down a couple times that year. But Tucker hasn't played a full AAA season yet. and he really never excelled at AAA to begin with. So
yeah, I wanted to point out he had. Oh, I can't truly. It's ain't like Baseball Reference where I can just click. He got called up. So his AAA experience was started April 4th. His last game in AAA was April 19th. So roughly about
3 weeks.
Yeah, barely. Roughly about 15 games he had in AAA for his career and got caught up to MLB. So and it's not like he came off of a good AA season as well. Like as we mentioned, he hasn't really put it together. In AA, he batted 259, 93 weighted run created plus. Then had like those maybe 15-ish games in AAA and then got caught up. So you're absolutely right. Like he didn't have what you would imagine the normal progression that most guys, especially with him, his type of production, get. So he ended up going back down to AAA. He's had a total of just 77 games in AAA.
Yeah. He's played more major league games than AAA games at this point.
True.
And he actually was starting to hit better in AAA. Again, he was kind of up and down, but I remember he started off the season pretty hot in AAA. I want to say. You look at his slash line, in 2019 as a 22-year-old, right? And that's not bad. So I think he's someone who could benefit from being like an everyday shortstop for the Indianapolis Indians, maybe for at least a half a season or so until he gets called back up. Because there's just something there where, unless he's changed dramatically over the offseason, but we just haven't seen him be able to perform at the plate. Like he's not even at the level right now where he really shouldn't be in the major leagues. He has a career weighted runs created plus in Major League Baseball of 53.
That's not good. It's not good.
That's not only is that not good, like that person shouldn't be on a major league team, right? Again, I like Cole Tucker. We all like Cole Tucker. He's just got a personality that obviously you gravitate towards. But like at some point he's got to perform at least just a little bit,
right?
And he just hasn't. So
yeah, and I'm with you. I guess that's just like the question, like where is that going to come, and where's it going to be best suited? Is it going to be best suited in the minors or in the majors? And like, what decision you make? So it's like, is Eric Gonzalez really going to block someone? You know what I mean? Like Cole Tucker, but again, like you're saying, like it's Cole Tucker. He earned it, deserved it. You are also correct. I just want to look here. So in his first few games of AAA before he got called up for the Pirates, he did have a 151 rated runs created plus. In those 13 games, he had 3 home runs, 3 triples. I'm sorry, 3 home runs, 3 doubles, and a triple. And batted 333. So he was kind of
mashing there at the beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he homered in his debut, didn't he? He homered in his major league debut. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He did. Oh, I'm sorry. Major league debut. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah. Him and Reynolds both homered, didn't they?
I feel like we had this question.
I think they did.
Did they both, or was it like back-to-back games? Like one did and one the other? I forget.
Maybe.
But you're right. At least the series they did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
Anyways, we go down a little bit. Like I mentioned, Brian Hayes apparently has looked good as well. The ball is coming off the bat pretty well. It's getting some really hard contact. I think there's one thing that
Hayes looks good. And listen, I didn't get to watch all of yesterday's 5 innings, but I had it on in the background for a little bit, and the double he hit yesterday was just
smoked.
He looked good. It was a good piece of hitting. He went with the pitch. It was an off-speed pitch that kind of hung a little bit. It was up in the zone, and he drove it to right center field. So it was he looked good. He looked real good in his one at bat that I paid attention to.
So I was going to say, so again, early spring over reaction season. It is nice. I get it's spring, but it is nice that a bit of what we saw last year is carrying over. The questions have been there for the bat. The glove we know is excellent so far this spring. the bat's still looking pretty legit. I mean, he's making some really good contact, hitting the ball very well. So I guess, again, it's still very early, but maybe there is more to Brian Hayes than what we were expecting, last year before we saw him, which is good. This bat can play. So I guess one thing to bring up, which isn't good, okay, I know you talked about as well, Kyle Crick. So Kyle Crick comes in, he's had some, after a really good season, with the Pirates, especially after that Kutch trade. Whew. Crick comes in, kind of proves himself as a solid reliever. He hasn't had some good seasons, and now he comes in this year, and I think he was hitting 90, 91. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was he was sitting like 90, 91. I think he topped out at 92.
So
his first outing.
I want to, I guess, extend this. Are we worried about Kyle Crick still, or is this just early spring velocity's not there type issues?
I think if he was coming off of, say, 2018, when he was still throwing 95, 96, we would say, okay, this is an issue. This is maybe just early season, but this is coming off of 2020 where he averaged 90.9 on his four-seamer. We've seen a full 5 mile an hour velocity dip from Kyle Crick over the last 2 seasons. That is not good. Not good at all. The slider too has lost about 4 miles per hour. And, when a slider loses that, it loses its bite, that slider used to be a pretty good pitch of his. And really, I mean, if you're actually, I'm looking at a StatCaps page right now, his slider in 2017 was one of the best in baseball, both 2017 and 2018 and 2019. One of the best in baseball when it came to horizontal movement. And last year it was not, it was average. So I think there's definitely some cause for concern, especially after what he did last year and now this first outing. Like, the alarms are going off on Kyle Crick, and if he can be a productive relief pitcher, if you're going to throw the ball 90, 91, and that's it as a right-handed reliever, you have to have impeccable command of those pitches in order to pull that off. So yeah, if that's who he is, that's not good.
Yeah, I think the way you put it is probably perfect. Like, the alarms are going off again. It's just one inning that he went out there. It's the very first in spring. So, but you're right. I mean, this has been his issue, right? This is the problem with Kyle Crick, which has pretty much led to his, ineffectability. So seeing his first time out there, still having the same issues carry over right now, albeit, the first game in spring. I mean, it's barely March. Oh, actually, it wasn't March yet. Or was it? What? Today, the 2nd?
March.
What day is today? The 3rd. Okay, so it was March.
Yeah.
I'm off, man. I don't know any days anymore. It's March still of 2020, I feel.
Yeah, right. We haven't moved in time.
Right.
Same thing. Yeah.
So, I want to give him some of the benefit of the doubt, but this was the concerns, and he hasn't put in those concerns to rest. So, yeah, Kyle Crick, it's not really what he wanted to see. Let's see what comes, next time out. See if there's any improvement. But I'm definitely, the alarms are going off on Kyle Crick right now. I mean, this bullpen has spots open. Kyle Crick could be one of them as well. So I don't know. As far as the rest of the pitching goes, like I said, Mitch Keller didn't
Let
really.
me ask you this, actually, real quick. One more thing about Crick. Okay, I mean, is he a lock for this team?
I don't think so. Like, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, I mean, he could be a potential another opening for someone guy to come in, because we're talking about the future. I mean, really, is Kyle Crick in the next window also? Probably not.
No.
I mean, especially at the rate he's going now.
Not even pitching like this either, yeah.
Right. But it's like, even with that being said, he hasn't been effective. And if it's still showing the same issues, like you said, can he be a lock? I'm not giving him a lock right now. If those guys that are showing some stuff, I want them in there. Like, I would rather much have, Cedarland in his bullpen right now than Kyle Crick. If you're talking about the interesting levels, right?
You're right. Yeah.
Give me Blake Cedarland.
If it comes down to like Cedarland or Mears, right, or Kyle Crick, yeah, I'm to the point right now. Like, if this is who he is, move on.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I mean, if he continues this and shows this entire spring that those issues still exist, well, we know what that is for Kyle Crick, and it's not good, unfortunately. But maybe he has some struggles. Again, it's spring. I mean, throw ERA out the window, especially for relievers. If velocity starts to tick up, like what if he's now hitting 92, 93 towards the end of spring? All right, it's coming back.
Yeah.
I'll give him that opportunity. I'll give him that chance. Let's see what he has. But yeah, I mean, if he's still sitting 90, 91 and it's March 27th, you got some decisions to make, I feel.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Cool. Much like Chad.
Just like Chad.
The ace. All right. Yeah, we're pretty much wrapping up here. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? Talk about?
I don't think so. I think we're all good.
All right.
More baseball.
That's it. All right. Well, then we'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
See you guys.